for Hungary. They come out of lane number 5, and closest to completing the lineup, Ura, that's Kazushika Ura and Daisaku Takeda for Japan. Daisaku in the stroke seat there, 32, very, very experienced. He's been there or thereabouts, hasn't quite really managed to pull it off, but this will be a fascinating start between Britain's new partnership of Mark Hunter and Zach Purchase, and I think Mads Rasmussen and Rasmus Quist. I don't know how you see it, Hugh. The Danes had the fastest time. I still make them the favourites for this.
I think Rasmussen is the one to beat, and well, Rasmus Quist and Mads Rasmussen are the two to beat. And the crew next to them on their left, in lane for Zach Purchase and Mark Hunter, is the probable best challenger. But they're a new combination, and Quist and Rasmussen have been together for a very long time indeed. That's Zach Purchase in the stroke seat and Mark Hunter in the bow seat, contrary to what is given on the start lists.
Very quickly, Luini and Miani of Italy, they failed to qualify, silver medalists last year, and so did the French partnership of Moreau and Dufour.
Lane 5, Hungary, with a very fast start there. They were completely fair, didn't go till after the buzzer, but leapt straight out to it. There we have Rasmus Quist, closest to camera in the stroke seat. No neck on him, big shoulders, head sitting straight on top of them, and his partner Mads Rasmussen in the bow seat.
And you sort of know what they're going to do. They're going to do completely the opposite to what the women did about 10 minutes ago. That they're going to go out there and try and dominate this race.
They are indeed.
And every time they were asked a question last year, they seem to have plenty of answers.
And there they are, leading from the front. I don't need to see the bow ball. You can see the way that Rasmus Quist's low shoulders, much lower than his partner, and low head. But if you look at the blades, they're perfectly combined. The work coming on, coming off, just the same, and they're half a length up on the field.
It'll be interesting when we see the British against the Danes. You might do a comparison in terms of style there, because there is a significant difference.
Well, this is a combination. You can see how much shorter Quist is than Rasmussen. I mean, he's a head shorter, practically, at least half a head shorter. And so they've had to develop the style to overcome that difference, and they've done so triumphantly well.
Already finding it a little hard in lane 1, Matt Jensen and Douglas Vandor for Canada. They were in the B final and finished in 12th place, so they're struggling, but not to the same extent that Polymeros and Dimitrios Mougios are. They have been known to come with a late battle, but they can't afford to give too much ground away, because the Danes are now really pushing on.
Yes, the Greek lightweight double scull was, of course, bronze medalists at the Athens Olympics, and so they've got something of a reputation to live up to at home and here even. But nobody's making any great impression. This is the British double. Zach Purchase, closest to camera, lightweight world champion in the single, looking for a partner, and appears in Mark Hunter to have found something. They're very nicely together. There are little bits of incompatibility, but that's because they're relatively new together. And now we switch to the Hungarian double of Zost Hirling and Tomasz Varga on the left in the stroke seat. So there's the Denmark stern on the edge of your picture, and Great Britain number 4 coming up into a strong second place. I beg your pardon. Third place. Denmark was a whole nother sweep of the camera to the right and in the lead, but they're being chased. There is perfection in the way the skulls move. There's perfection in the way the bodies move. There's completely different shapes, and how the coaches and the crew have managed to adapt both scullers so that they look so well together when they're quite so different in build is extraordinary.
That's quite an advantage, but 4 fighting for 2 other podium places at the moment, and it is indeed the Greeks 7 seconds out of it, and I think they're going to find that very difficult to pull anything like that back. I just don't think it's going to happen.
In a slow-moving boat, but then these are lightweight athletes. They're not able to make the lead so great, and It's perfectly possible for Purchase and Hunter to close a little bit on Quist and Rasmussen. It's perfectly possible for any of those other crews, but there's too much for the Greeks to get back on terms. However, here in lane 5, we have Hungary showing very strongly indeed.
Yeah, also the Japanese going along with them, Ura and Takeda. But at the moment, Denmark totally and utterly in command. That picture doesn't really quite tell the story. The angle's a little deceptive. It makes the British look rather closer than they actually are.
It also makes them look like they're grinning, and I think actually they're having quite a hard time here.
Far side, lane 1, Matt Jensen and Douglas Van Dort, believing that maybe they can get into the fight for second and third, because the way this is going already, the Danes have surely put this to bed already.
It's very hard to imagine anybody coming back. These two must be thinking, well, we'll make a solid silver medal rather than they're too ambitious to think that they can go through. And
500 metres to go, and it is Denmark who lead Great Britain. And then very close on the near side there, Japan, perhaps just edging Hungary. It looked visually the other way round, Canada and Greece. So this is quite interesting now. It'll be a really big boost for Takeda and Ura if they could snatch third place here, and the possibility is there. Hungarians, though, they've arguably got the pedigree. They've been world champions, but they are a partnership, Hugh, that have been in and out of form quite often due to illness.
yes, this is lightweight sculls and double sculls, and remember that one or two crews, Sikorsky and Sitch, are here, but they're in the open weight. They'll come down to lightweight later in the season, they always do. So there's more to play for in this event than is present here before the eye. But it is, of course, as we've said earlier, the first step on the road to the Olympics. And people have got to get this boat right if they want to be represented in Beijing. And this is a qualifying year, so all of this is going towards their eventual Olympic selection.
It'd be interesting to see whether Koszacki and Seats of Poland, the Olympic champions, whether they can actually do this, because year on year they've always struggled to make the weight, and somewhere along the line it must catch up with them. It's not catching up with the Danes. The Danes are pulling away for a very impressive performance. This is 2 victories in the space of 30 minutes. The women's lightweight double sculls, and now the men's lightweight double sculls goes to Rasmus Quist and Mads Rasmussen. The silver medal goes to Zach Purchase and Mark Hunter. And third place, very close there. Looks like Hungary might have just taken that third spot. Just waiting for confirmation on that.
Denmark's superiority over Great Britain, 1.24 seconds at 500, 2.65 at 1,000, 2.89 at 1,500, 3.71. Going away all the way down the course. Every 500, just clocking up another half a length. And pretty irresistible, I thought that was.
Well, third place to Canada, in fact, so my apologies for the misleading
third place to
information.
Canada, but 6 lengths adrift.
Yeah,
6 seconds adrift, I beg their pardon. And Japan, very, very close, 6.56 seconds adrift of Great Britain for Canada, and 6.81 seconds adrift, so 0.25, quarter of a second back to Japan, and then 7 minutes away for Hungary, and 14 minutes.
14 minutes?
14 seconds, rather. Or actually 14.91, so 15 seconds back for Greece. Terribly disappointing for them.
Yeah, Greece, Canada, Japan and Hungary all in a bit of a heat, really, but no question, this is the quality. These are the world champions, and it's going to take a good partnership to lower their colours this season. The big question, of course, is can they keep this going? Can they